Hello, my name is Cassie Feld, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Upcycled Adulting, where I am here to help you grow to accomplish your goals, overcome obstacles, and create healthy habits. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel. I am always trying to help you build the fulfilling life of your dreams. Today, we're going to be talking about how to get help at home. I see so many questions about this on social media. I hear women primarily talking about this all the time. It is not only your job to take care of everything in the house, and it's really, really important that we get the help that we need from our partners, our kids, or anybody else who lives in our home. If somebody else lives there, they can help. That is the absolute fact. So let's talk about the most effective ways to get that help, because I know many of you have tried many times and have struggled to get the consistent help necessary in your household. So I have 4 steps to get this done. This has worked really well with my family. I have a partner. I was a stay-at-home mom for years. I have 5 kids and I have 2 special needs kids. So I have implemented this in all sorts of different circumstances, from being a working parent to being a stay-at-home parent, from doing it with my kids to doing it with children who are neurodivergent and who struggle a little bit. So this has consistently worked, and I wanted to make sure that I share it with you. The first thing to do is to make a list. Now, I know that many of us feel like we shouldn't have to make a list. The people who live in our houses see the mess too, and it doesn't make any sense why they can't help. But here's the deal. Depending on your tolerance for the mess, depending on your family of origin, depending on whether or not it was ever modeled to your partner, who does what work in your house, this could actually make it really difficult for them to see and understand what has to happen to keep the house running functionally. Now, it's really important when we make this list to define the items on it. My husband, for example, does the laundry in our house. Now, he's been doing the laundry for quite a while now, and really creating clarity about the fact that he has to put laundry detergent and fabric softener on the grocery list, okay, was important. It had not occurred to him, and yes, listen to me, I know that this seems silly, but it didn't occur to him that as part of his job in doing the laundry, he needed to make sure that those things were purchased. The first time he ran out, he had to go to the store and get it. I did not bail him out of that, which we're going to cover in like step 3, but making sure that the person knows end to end what is the job. Right? What is this job? And in our household, doing laundry means collecting it, sorting it, washing it, drying it, hanging items to dry, folding all the laundry, and then each person puts away their own. So that's how it works in our home. We prefer to do it once a week. It might look different in your house, but part of the laundry job is also making sure that anything that's needed for the laundry gets put on the grocery list. Because my husband, he's not the one who does the grocery shopping. I am. And so I don't want to get stuck running to the store extra times or dealing with that. Everything to do with the laundry, his job. Okay, so defining those items can help make it really clear and prevent misunderstandings. For example, not defining the fact that all the laundry needs to get folded, or not defining who puts the laundry away, could create a lot of confusion. We don't have any little kids who are not able to deal with their own laundry. In fact, our kids are adults, and our youngest, who comes back and forth from college, does their own laundry. But just making sure that you have clarity end to end on who is doing what makes a huge difference. In fact, when our youngest is home from school, my husband also has the responsibility of coordinating with them who's doing laundry when, to make sure that they're not both trying to get in there and do laundry on the same day. That just doesn't work really well in my house. The next step is going to be to ask for help. Now, whether you live with people you're asking for help from, or you're asking from help from your village, understanding what you're asking for help with is incredibly helpful. Understanding how to actually ask for help, understanding that you are entitled to have help, understanding that it is everybody's job to pitch in and that everyone can pitch in, is very important. But most important, it's vital to know that asking for help is a way to build intimacy and connection in your relationships. That means that asking for help requires some vulnerability, and that also means that you're doing the other person a favor when you ask for help. Regardless of how they receive it, you are giving the opportunity for them to show up for you. You would not do that with someone you didn't love, trust, care about. You're not going to be doing that with a perfect stranger. In most cases, you're putting yourself out there in a really positive and healthy way. The best way to get help is to give people a choice of options and to have them volunteer. Meaning, it's always best to say, you can do this job or that job, and let them pick. Or here are the jobs that need to be done. Everyone pick two. The reason why it works best that way is when people volunteer or choose the job they'll be responsible for, they tend to take more ownership of it than if it's assigned. It can be very, very helpful to come up with some broken down chores, some small parts of chores for younger kids and give them the opportunity to help too. Littler kids seem to be most enthusiastic about helping. They're not necessarily capable of being as helpful, but we really want to instill that habit and that spirit in them. When we're teaching our children how to do things in our home, it's important to show them. It's important to actually have them do it with you watching so that you can give feedback and then to set them off on their own to do it. That's going to be most successful. And to be honest, sometimes those steps are also important to do with our partners who, again, may or may not know how to manage certain things. Or you may need something taught to you in this way because you actually have never done that job before either. It can be very, very helpful when we make the list and we ask for help to check in with our partner or the other adult in the household when we have kids to get them on board with this, get them engaged in this process, allow them to add things to the list if they have things too. They may have things that you didn't think about. And so that would be very helpful. In addition, it's important for both parents, especially in a dual gender household, to be in charge of supervising the kids' jobs, even if that's not a job that that parent traditionally does. The reason for this is that it helps model to the children that both genders are responsible for house cleaning. Both genders are responsible for lawn work. Both genders are responsible for the care and upkeep of a home. Oftentimes, the reason women carry the mental load more when it comes to the inside housework, those daily routine tasks, is because we have all seen our mothers do that. That's been modeled to us as the role of women. Even if we had working mothers, which I did, our mothers still carried the brunt of that load. And so when we model differently to our children, when dad shows up to check in and make sure that your child got the kitchen cleaned right, or he cleans the kitchen without you saying anything, it shows your children that both genders are equally responsible for household work, right? And that helps create a generational improvement on this topic, which is really, really important for us. I know my husband is typically the one to correct a lot of our kids' chore work. So he's usually the one that will check in and make sure that the chore was properly done, or he will say, hey, you forgot to blank. One of our kids, whenever they clean the kitchen after dinner, they always leave one item out. I do not know why, but they generally, it's one item, sometimes more, but it's always at least one. And it is consistently my husband who says that needs to be picked up. And it's really incredibly interesting how this is our youngest son, how he is so responsible for household work and he will do it automatically and he doesn't need to be told and he knows that it's partly his job too, right? And I remember growing up that I didn't know very many guys who felt that way. That's just the reality. So it does make a huge difference. The next thing is to let it go. Now, some of you might need to go back and revise your list because I just said that. We have to let it go. If it's something that drives you bonkers that you know has to be done, if it's something that is vitally essential, it can be helpful to not start with those items when you're working this into your family dynamic. Part of the reason is it is essential that you do not pick up the slack. You don't do it for them. You don't nag them about it. You don't go back and fix it. You let it go. You are not responsible for being everybody in your house's checkpoint, mother, policing them all. You are not responsible for supervising all of this. That's the mental load that you're not responsible for. If they don't do it, then they're going to have a bigger mess to clean up next time. If they don't do it, then that's going to be a problem they're going to need to navigate, but you are not. And I know that this is particularly challenging because particularly as women, we are held to a standard about our home. And I've said this many, many times. No one has ever come into my house and said, wow, look at that mess. I wonder what Greg is doing. That's my husband. No one's ever said that. He really needs to get on that. People tend to hold women to that standard. I have no problem saying to someone, yeah, that was so-and-so's job and they didn't do it. We have to stop holding women to the standard of being the guardians of this work, right? It's not their job. And when I go into another person's home, I don't assume that whatever's happening there is her responsibility or her fault or her problem. If things aren't getting done in that household, I assume that the teamwork isn't there, that the people that should be contributing aren't contributing. I do not assume that this is all on the woman. I just think that that is so outdated and we all need to move past that. And then the fourth thing is that y'all might not have heard this saying before, but you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. The fourth item is to catch people doing good. Okay, catch people doing good. Create a spirit in your household of appreciation and gratitude and encourage that in your family. This can be a challenging thing to start because in some ways it may feel like this is still you holding some of the responsibility. But once this takes off, this is very, very easy to do. And then you'll find that everyone is doing it with everyone else. And that is such an awesome experience to have as a family. Very frequently, especially with our younger kids, as we started implementing this with our younger kids, I will notice that they will praise each other for a job well done. I notice that they will praise me or they'll praise their father for a job well done, where they'll come in and say, oh, wow, the kitchen looks so nice. Did you clean up the kitchen today? And they offer that because that's been done. And so when we model this, it actually helps encourage people to do their jobs, and it encourages people to be more grateful and appreciative of the work being done in your home, which is real work, and it's hard work, and it's often thankless work, and it deserves gratitude. And so working to actually find things to praise is very, very beneficial in this process. Research has shown that people are more likely to change their behavior with inconsistent positive reinforcement than anything else. So all the frustration, all the nagging, all the crying, all the yelling, I've done all of it, okay? Those are all the things I've done. That doesn't actually get people to help in your house nearly as much as just one time saying, wow, thank you, you did a nice job, right? And sometimes overlooking maybe that one item that was left out of kitchen cleanup so that you have the opportunity to say, wow, thank you, you really did a good job wiping off the stove. I know that pot boiled over, it must have been hot. And it gives that opportunity to create that feedback loop. Now, I'm going to do a small step Saturday, and I'm going to show you how I made that into a very tactical and visible process, because for people who are neurodivergent in particular, it can be hard to remember to do that, and it can be hard to remember it was done. So I'm going to show you exactly how we implemented a praise system in our house that was really incredible and amazing, and you will love it. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel. I am always here to help you create the life that you've been dreaming of, because here's the thing, you are absolutely amazing and you deserve it, and you can have it. There is nothing uniquely special about me that I am uniquely equipped to have created the kind of life that I always dreamed of. You can do it too. I promise you. You deserve it, and your whole family will be glad you did it. I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.